This is the Nifty 50 one-year overview reading for the year of 2024. It's currently March 30th, 2024, 6:04 p.m. Eastern time. So we're getting into this late in the year, but it was a late order. It was ordered in March. We're getting it done right here at the end of March. So just want to be clear, guys, the first portion of this reading, the time, it's already passed. So what we're going to use it as a control to see how accurate the reading is. And if it's accurate, then we'll continue onward with it. If it's not, we'll do another one. We'll do it over again, because sometimes they're not. Currently, at the time of this reading, the Nifty 50, which is the Indian Stock Exchange, if you're not familiar, is 22,326.90. That's USD. And the shuffle video that we're about to play for you, or the shuffle video that we're playing for you here in the lower left corner, was created on March 9, 2024 at 5:53 p.m. Eastern time. That's the video in the lower left corner. So the overall theme and behavior for the year 2024, we have a sideways fluctuating decline that precedes a notable rally at least once in the year of 2024, but this is probably a sideways fluctuating decline on a multi-year scale that precedes a fast move higher on a multi-year scale. And the high and the low for the year are also within close time proximity to each other. There's two things that can happen when you have a high and a low correlating to each other, like we have the high and the low correlating to each other here. You either have them within close time proximity to each other, and or you'll go from one almost directly to the other with very little kind of like back and forth in between. Those are the two types of things that you usually see. And so the crossing, the event or events that help or hinder the sideways fluctuating decline that precedes a rally is this fast sudden move higher at least once in the year. Looks like there's at least specifically one out of a low here, and we're going to get into that in more detail as we progress. Behavior around the high side for the year, the Ace of Cups indicating that we have a notable decline off of the high side for the year that offers an opportunity to open up a long position, very much implying that the decline off of the high being a good opportunity to open up a long position indicates that we're going to see the price level of the high again and or a higher one at one point. So I would be looking for good declines off of the high sides, at least the first one, to open up a long position in anticipation of revisiting that high side in the not too distant future. Behavior around the lowest low for the year, we have kind of like a flattening out of price action and volatility around the low. It's an important price level or an important resistance on a one-year chart scale, or it acted as an important resistance on a one-year chart scale one moment or another. It's also within close time proximity to the highest high for the year. Now, before we get into predicting the chart behavior by the week, as well as timing the highest highs and the lowest lows for the year, I just want to make sure that everybody's aware. The whole purpose of the channel is to transmute some of the competitive energy of the stock market into goodwill. We do that by following the rule of karma for the channel. You go to the resources tab of our website, Tarot for Traders, and 5% of the profits from every profitable trade utilizing this information should be donated forward to one of these charities, or pick a charity of your choosing as long as you're paying 5% forward, and then 5% should be sent back to the channel through one of these links. If you're international, you can use Wise or you can use YouTube tips, and that leaves you at 90%. Make sure to spend that 90% out of love. As long as you follow those rules, you follow the rule of karma for the channel, the universe considers you an angel investor. It's going to send it back to you tenfold for following through. Blessings to all my angel investors. Let's get back into it. Okay, guys, so in January, we have a sideways rotation along key support on a one-year chart scale minimum. We rise to meet the nearest key resistance, fall back down, and continue rotating sideways. There's an attempt to establish support along a key support level on a one-year chart scale near the January low, a trade opportunity there as well. And a sideways fluctuating decline that increases with momentum moving forward in time in the later part of January. Looks like after a peak or crest, or possibly a high side thus far, it looks like, towards the middle part of the month in the midst of multiple failed attempts to break through key resistance. Now, that sideways fluctuating decline into a lowest low there towards the later part of January, it looks like the lowest low ends up being in February. There's a resistance level early in February that's highlighted that we'll revisit again in the not too distant future, so you could utilize it as an entry, probably for short position, and then when you close the short position, you open up a long position, and then utilize that as an exit as well. And we'll talk about that in more detail in the paid version. There's a notable decline off of the February high through multiple support levels, and a prominent peak on a one-year chart scale in the later part of February within a period of volatility. There's also a sharp drop within that period of volatility, taking us to probably a lowest low again, or close to a lowest low again towards the end of the month of February. And there's a significant move to the February low and or out of the February low, marking a really optimal trade opportunity. Looks like we probably see the February low twice, actually. And then in March, we have this failed attempt to break through key resistance, followed by a decline through key support. The thing about the key resistance in March is that it'll, like technical analysis or classical technical theory, will lead you to believe that we're going to break through and continue higher, but instead we turn around and we decline through key support. It's a real disappointment. There's a pop and drop near the March high and a trade opportunity there. Sideways fluctuating decline off of both the February high and the March high, but with the March high, it turns into price swings in the later part of March, and around the March low, there is a erratic behavior back and forth through the same price level, in the midst of which we revisit a prominent crest on a one-year chart scale that was recently a past opportunity around, it's like within close time proximity to the March low. Now, as we enter April, you know what, before we go any further, let's take a look and see how we did this far. And remember, this is just a kind of like a way to determine at this point, because it passed already, it's just a way to determine if it's a pretty accurate reading. And you can see right there, right, we have in the later part of January, we have a lowest low for the year, at least thus far. We also have a highest high for the year within close time proximity to the low, so that makes sense. Highs and lows are within close time proximity. We have a high here in the middle part of January, we have a low in the later part of January, and then we come back to a prominent peak in February. There's two lows in February, right? 1, 2, and I said it'd probably come close to, not necessarily to the lowest, a little bit closer. That is still pretty solid. Prominent peak at the end of the month, prominent peak at the beginning of March. The high forms with a pop and a drop. We have a failed attempt to break through key resistance, and it would lead, technicals would lead us to believe we're going higher, right? Based on that looks super bearish, FYI, guys, right? And we're coming up on lowest lows here in April, May somewhere. So be very, very careful of these price swings. We probably see a high and then a lowest low and then a high again, something along those lines. But in any case, this looks pretty solid. There's a prominent peak on a one-year chart scale within close time proximity to the March low. and there's a prominent peak in the early part. This is really solid. All right, so we're going to continue with this. Matter of fact, guys, somebody ordered this custom. If you're interested in getting your ticker or crypto symbol covered, there's literally like a 6-month wait, or excuse me, there's literally like a 6-week waiting list on custom orders at this point. We get so many of them, so be prepared for that. But we were able to squeeze in this nifty 50. It was ordered in March, but because it's 2024, we wanted to get it done ASAP. It's a great way to get your ticker or crypto symbol covered fast by the channel, and also a great way to support the channel and get my attention. You go to our services, SM Post, scroll down to 1 year report, click here to order. Now you get a custom report for $4.99, and you can pick any year between 2024, 2025, 26. Specify the crypto or ticker symbol, and if it's crypto, specify it's crypto, please, and then add to cart and order. Like I said, great way to support the channel. Only place you can get this information, and we're running roughly a 96 to, let's say a 95 to a 96% average accuracy right now. It's a little lower than we were just doing the S&P, but we've added all sorts of tickers in crypto and added different types of spreads, so it's come down a little bit to like 96. But that's nothing to be ashamed of. That's still accurate. Show me somebody with 96 in the professional finance world. Doesn't exist. So thank you to everybody that goes ahead and does it. There's also another way that you can get access to the paid version of this video. You go to our services, SM Post, scroll down to 1 year report, click here to order. You can choose one that's already been done. So like this one's obviously already been done. Click here to order, and there's a drop down of all the different cryptos that we have, or crypto or ticker symbols that we have 1 year readings for right now. There'll be more as the year progresses. And if you want to get the paid version of every single one of these, it's not just 2024s actually, it's like 2025s as well. And then there is one other way that you could get access. You could get access to the paid version of all of these, and any customs that come out throughout the remainder of the year, or throughout the month that you're paying. It's a subscription. It's our top end subscription. You go to our services, SM Post, scroll down to total access, click here to order. This gives you the paid version of basically everything that we have a paid version of on the site. All of the monthlies that come out regularly, and the custom monthlies with paid versions, as well as the 1 years, the paid version of all the 1 years that come out, the ones that we do of our own interest, and then the ones that people order custom. With total access, you get the paid version of everything, guys. Best way, top tier subscription, best way to support the channel. Much appreciation to all of those of you that go ahead and do that. Now, let's get back into it. Okay, so in April, we have this notable rally along a diagonal trend line. We break through horizontal resistance, meet another resistance, and then pull back to somewhere between those two price levels. It looks like we have three pokes through the same trend line or price level, followed by a sharp drop off of that third poke. And those 3 pokes are probably somewhere near the April high. The April high will form from an unexpected move to the upside as well. And then behavior around the April low, which is very likely a lowest low for the year, either the same lowest low or possibly a lower one. It's towards the end of the month of April, and it's followed by a big move, probably a big short squeeze in early May, out of a lowest low and into a highest high for the year. Pretty big move there from April into May. The end of April has a prominent peak on a 1 year chart scale and a lowest low. The beginning of May has a prominent peak on a 1 year chart scale and a lowest low, and then we have a highest high in May as well, and there's a prominent trough within close time proximity to the May highest high. We decline off of the May high pretty notably. It's like a near overbought crest that we sell off from through multiple support levels into a low. It looks like that low may be in like the middle part of May, maybe just slightly over the midway point. The Ace of Discs in early June indicates a lot of price change and an important support level on a multi-year scale that's highlighted. Probably a good buy opportunity, probably a good cash out and a good buy opportunity. We're going to talk about in more detail in the paid version. A big move to the upside on a 1 year chart scale, taking us into the June high. It looks like it's probably a move off of the June low, a big move to the upside, reaching for distant resistance off of the June low. And then by the end of June, the rally's halted by a decline through key support. Bearish price swings and or a sharp drop in the early part of July. Sideways rotation near the July low along key support on a 1 year chart scale. And that sideways rotation ends with a fast sudden move higher. The behavior around the July high, we have a lowest low for the year within close time proximity to the July high. The July high is a prominent peak on a 1 year chart scale, and there's also a significant trade opportunity there. We have a failed attempt to break through key resistance, followed by a decline through key support on a 1 year chart scale as we leave in the later part of July and as we leave and enter into August. Really big decline in the early part of August into an important low. Could be a lowest low again. I think that's probably where the lowest low that's within close time proximity to the July high. It's probably on the cusp of July, August, or in early August. There's a sharp drop in the early part of August. And then we have a prominent peak on a 1 year chart scale within close time proximity to the low of August. And there's also a big move in the later part of August out of the decline from the bottom of a range all the way to the top of a range. And this is that move that really stands out to me as probably the most likely location of this fast sudden move higher on a 1 year chart scale. There'll be one here almost certainly. There could be others, but this is the one that really stands out. That out of that lowest low, we have this big move that takes us probably to a highest high thus far, or probably the same highest high, or it'll be a higher one here. It's probably the same highest high here in the early part of September. We have a bit of a decline off of that high in early September. Advise to be cautious around the September low, multiple false bottoms or some sort of tricky sharp behavior. And then we're rallying. It's like we revisit actually a support level that we recently met once before. So it might be that we see the low again. I don't think so, but there is a possibility. In either case, we end up even higher as we enter into October. So the rally really starts at the low in early August. And even though there's some mixed behavior in September, it looks like it really does continue into an even higher price. Probably the highest high of the year around October, November. Probably a high side thus far in early October. There's a brief peak at the October high that's easily missed, followed by a decline through key support. 3 crisscrosses back and forth through the same price level around the October low, and there's an overbought crest in the later part of October that we sell off through multiple support levels. I think that overbought crest is probably right on the cusp of October, November, or maybe even in early November. But it looks like we have an even higher high in November. There's a fake out of some kind that'll really stand out, an intentional fake out or shake out of some kind in early November really stand out when we look back at 2024, really stand out. And There's an opportunity, a rally into the November high that offers opportunity to open up a short position or close long position. I'll talk about it in more detail in the paid version. There's a peak that we sell off from pretty, it's a peak, not a crest, specifically a peak that we sell off from pretty notably into the November low. There's a universal hexagram energy, so we probably take a pretty big nosedive from a highest high into a significant low. There's a prominent high or prominent peak within close time proximity to the November low, and then there's this unexpected move to the upside in the later part of November. The futility card usually starts out of a really scary decline, so even though it seems like we're going to go lower, instead we turn around and we go higher, and that does really hold up with the story of the devil card right there. A lot of price change around a key resistance level on a one-year chart scale in the early part of December. You could probably trade both directions or utilizing that price level as an entry and an exit. We'll talk about it again in more detail on the paid version. We successfully turned resistance into support on a one-year chart scale around the December high. The December low forms when we have sideways rotation and then a big move higher out of the low, followed by more sideways rotation at a higher price level. And then in the later part of December, we actually rally into key resistance, and then there's a sharp drop with consecutively lower spikes up on the way down as we exit the year. The sneak preview for 2025, we have a sideways S formation within a channel. At least some portion of the year is going to be pretty mixed, where we decline from key resistance to a support, return, reverse, go all the way back to resistance, and return, or reverse and go all the way back to support, creating that sideways S within the channel. Now we're going to get into the timing of the best trades that we see, as well as what type of entry and exit chart behavior to look for the entry and exit into and out of those trades. We're going to talk about price level information, all of that in the paid version. Stay tuned if you got the paid version. For everybody else, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to follow that rule of karma. You know where to go, you know what to do. Blessings to all my angel investors. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one.